Begin to describe it. You could sit here and talk all day long and no words could describe the peace, the beauty, the sense of accomplishment and responsibility and camaraderie that's here. It's overwhelming, it really is. You can't describe it.
You know, it's just such an exciting time. Everything was new and unique and just fun. You know, we just had fun with it as it grew. I just love that we created what we ate, that we did all these jobs.
What do you think about your friends back down in the state? Do you think they should be here?
Well,
do you want to share with them this morning? Speak up.
I wished I could.
Well, can you do
share
it?
with them?
Would you do it?
They won't listen to me.
They won't listen to you, huh?
When you don't have anything, you own Jonestown. You are part of Jonestown. You were a shareholder at Jonestown if you were African American. It gave them the opportunity to really be a part of creating a utopia.
Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
I think that Jim Jones took his group down there because he was afraid to face the publicity and answer the questions here in this country. I don't think that he feels confident having people talk to their relatives. I think the only way he can survive and sustain what he started is to isolate all his followers from this country and from their families.
The concerned relatives were the ex-members who wanted other family members still in the church to know they could leave. They wanted them to feel that there was an outside world, that Jones was wrong about telling people they could never leave the church and that they'd be treated badly in the real world.
The concerned relatives prompted FCC investigation of People's Temple. They organized letter-writing campaigns to public officials, to members of Congress. They were incredibly effective in mobilizing government and media interest in People's Temple.
He was talking integration, he was talking helping people, he was talking better this and better that.
What about now? What's your impression now?
My impression now that those are fronts for him, I think he's gone crazy.
When Jim Jones wasn't there, things tended to be a little bit lighter. You know, people would be dancing or singing. There'd be music in different cottages. But when Jones was present, it was very, very dark. It was almost like a dark cloud.
In Jonestown, there was a speaker system, and only Jim spoke on it, and it went 24 hours a day, and he would tape himself. So in the middle of the night, all through the night, his voice was talking to you.
The United States is calling for the removal of all blacks and Indians, so is England, and want to have their immigrant black Indian population removed in 6 months.
We had no other radio or TV or communication with parents or any kind of, you know, update that could show us really that there's a whole other thing going on besides what Jim was interpreting for us.
I make my stand clear. Give us our liberty or give us our death.
No matter where you were, you could hear. You could hear it in your bunk at night. You could hear it when you're in the outhouse. You could hear it when you were working in the field. You could hear it all the time.
At least on those terms, we choose our death, and no one chooses it for us. Don't try to take any of our children.
There was this pervasive sense of being under attack in Jonestown. He told them that things were just getting worse in the United States. They couldn't go back home. And not only that, but these forces were traveling to Guyana to destroy them there.
You can't know how much of a conspiracy there is in this.
Maybe it's economics. Who knows what it is? I'm not even sure. But I do know it's real. It's obvious that Martin Luther King was murdered by conspiracy. Malcolm X.
Over the summer of 1978, all of us noticed that Jim seemed to be getting sicker. His harangues over the loudspeaker were getting more and more frantic and really just sounding more and more insane.
He had gotten to the place that even his voice was becoming slurred. And he said it was because the nurse was giving him the wrong medications. But yet and still, every day, it was getting worse and worse.
Every night at some point, his voice would come over the loudspeaker and he'd say, "I'm sending somebody out tonight. Somebody you know, somebody you trust. And they're going to act like they want to leave. But this is a loyalty test, and you need to turn them in."
A father would turn in a son, a husband would turn in a wife, a small child would turn in a parent. There was no freedom to express to one another what was going on because everything was suspect. The most forbidden thing to express was to leave.
He had a real issue with separation. People could not leave him. He took it as a betrayal to the cause and to him personally.
He said, "I really want to get away from here, and by Christmas I will be gone."
By Christmas, do you want to be gone?
Well,
By Christmas, do you want to be gone? By Christmas, do you want to be gone?
I would ask you, could I go home to make a trip to see my people?
I have the power to send you home by Christmas, but it's not on Trans World Airlines. It's blasphemy. It's blasphemy to talk about going back when you have not been given any approval. Do you want to go home?
Oh.
Well, then be seated and shut your mouth and don't be in my face anymore.
Congressman Ryan was unique in the political sphere. He had this hands-on approach to legislating. He just didn't take no for an answer. So when he was in the state assembly, he went to Folsom State Prison and spent a week as an inmate to understand the prison issues and prison reform. He became concerned because a number of residents in San Mateo County had become members of the People's Temple, and family members started contacting him, concerned about their whereabouts and concerned about whether or not they were being held against their will. The word we were getting was that there was an armed encampment. It was enough for the congressman to say, you know what, I want to go find out for myself.
There was a lot of preparation for Congressman Ryan's visit. There was all these different scenarios that were presented. He wasn't going to let him in, he was going to let him in. We were going to wait for them to come in, and we were going to kill them all when they came in.
I was very fearful about making the trip. I had a copy of the congressman's will and placed it in a particular drawer in my desk, just in case.
We flew in sometimes in the afternoon, about 6 p.m. We saw this beautiful signs, "Welcome to Jonestown."
As we approached Jonestown, it was Spartan, but very impressive.
How could you not be impressed that out of the jungles of Guyana, they had carved out a community? They had crops growing, they had cabins, they had a little medical clinic, a little daycare area.
Flour, rice, black-eyed peas, more peas. We have different containers around the place. We couldn't go through all the tremendous inventory they built up. Kool-Aid,